Okay, now let's have the first example on solid or on volume of solid of the revolution under this method. So let's find the volume of the solid of the revolution determined by the region between the curve. So the given curve is y equals the square root of x. We have the line from 0 to 4, and the region is also bounded by the x-axis, and which revolve about the x-axis. Okay, so from the given problem, so ito yung itsura ng graph. So this blue line is our function y equals the square root of x. So we have the line x equals 4. So yung pink line is your x equals 4. This is your x equals 0, your y-axis, and this is also this is your y-axis, of course, your y equals 0, and the axis of revolution is your x-axis. So ibig sabihin, ma-form ang solid by rotating the axis of revolution along the x-axis. So yung ating region is this one. Ito yung region ng ating functions. This is the area common dun sa ating mga functions. Okay, now I'll be using vertical rectangular strip for us to use the disk method. Bakit ganun? May iba pa bang method kapag hindi horizontal o kapag hindi vertical rectangular strip ang gagamitin? The answer is yes. Okay, so para magamit ang disk method, okay, so magmamatter kasi yung rectangular strip dun sa problem or dun sa region. Okay, so ang rectangular strip, kung siya ay perpendicular dun sa axis of revolution at ang rectangular strip natin ay naka-attach dun sa axis of revolution, yung problem ay masosolve using disk method. Okay? Uulitin ko. Para magamit ang disk method, dapat yung strip na gagamitin mo ay perpendicular doon sa axis of revolution, at dapat naka-attach ang rectangular strip doon sa mismong axis of revolution. So, clear tayo doon. Okay? Kasi kung hindi this method ang ating magagamit para ma-solve yung problem. It can be washer method, or it can be cylindrical shell method. Okay, so in this case, the rectangular strip is perpendicular to the axis of revolution. Naka-attach yung ating rectangular strip dun sa axis of revolution. So yung method na gagamitin natin is the disk method. Okay, I hope that is clear. Okay, so ito yung graph. That's figure 1A. So yung figure 1B, so ito yung ating region. Ito yung ating strip, rectangular strip. This is the axis of revolution. This is your function, y equals the square root of x. Ito yung boundary natin, x equals 0. And this is also the other boundary, that x equals 0. Ito yung x equals 4. Okay, so yung nasa ilalim, Okay, kapag kasi pinaikot mo yung solid along the x-axis, merong matitrace na curve ang ating region. Okay? So, ang tawag dito sa ilalim ay yung mirror noong region sa taas. Okay? So, ito yung mirror ng y equals the square root of x. Ito yung mirror ng x equals 4. At ito yung mirror ng ating rectangular strip. Okay. Now, kapag dinrow natin to, kapag ating tiningnan tong graph na to, itong 2-dimensional graph na to into 3-dimensional, what we have is this. So, ito yung solid. So, ito yung solid na na-generate upon revolving the region along the x-axis. Okay. So, ang disk, again, is just one portion of the solid. So, kapag chinap-chop natin to on equal thickness, so, ang isang portion or isang slice forms a disk. Okay? So, let's proceed to our next figure, figure 1B. So, ito yung ating cross-section, yung dimension ng ating disk. Okay. So, we are using the vertical rectangular strip. So, ito yung original na region. Itong nasa ilalim is just the mirror. So, dito tayo magme-measure ng radius sa mismong region. So, ito yung ating radius. So, from here up to here is the radius or the r of x. Okay? So, ang r of x is given by the upper function minus the lower function, or the f of x minus the g of x. So, in this case, ang upper function natin is the function y equals the square root of x. Kung babalikan natin yung ating graph, yung upper function is the curve y equals the square root of x, at ang lower function natin is your axis of revolution, and the equation is y equals 0. Okay, so that's why your r of x is equal to square root of x minus 0. So the thickness of your disk is dx. So again, ibig sabihin, kung ang ating variable of integration is x, so dapat yung ating radius ay naka-express in terms of x, at dapat mga variables natin dito is all x. Okay, so dito yung ating mga unknowns. So your f of x is again square root of x. That's the upper curve or the upper boundary of the region. Yan, balik ulit tayo dito. So para pinaka-basic, balik tayo dun sa basic ng area. So your f of x is, or the upper function, the upper boundary, and that is y equals the square root of x, kung saan nag-touch yung upper end ng iyong rectangle. And then, saan nag-touch ang lower end ng rectangle? So, that's the axis of revolution, and that's y equals 0. And that's your lower boundary or the lower curve. Okay. So, meron tayong upper, meron tayong lower, and then yung left portion naman ng boundary, so that is x equals 0. And then yung right portion or right boundary ng ating region is at x equals 4. So, ang lower limit natin is 0, at ang upper limit natin ay equals sa 4. So, yun yung mga kailangan natin para mag-substitute natin sa formula. So, again, the formula ng volume is equal to pi times the integral of f of x minus g of x quantity squared dx evaluated from a to b. So, yung pi ay kokopyahin lang all throughout hanggang dun sa final answer. Okay? And then, yung ating f of x is square root of x, your g of x is 0, and that must be squared. And then, your dx is the variable of integration evaluated from 0, that's the lower limit, and the upper limit is equal to 4. Okay, so your square root of x minus 0 is just simply square root of x, and then if you square it, it's just simple as x. And then if you integrate x, and that is x squared over 2 multiplied by pi, and that must be evaluated from 0 to 4. And then again, you substitute the upper limit and the lower limit. You have 4 squared over 4 multiplied by pi minus pi times 0 squared over 2. So this second term is simply equal to 0. And then we have 4 squared is equal to 16 divided by 2 is equal to 8. And then multiplied by pi. So that's your volume equals 8 pi cubic units. So the volume is approximately equal to 8 pi cubic units. Thank you.